All right, so here with the spoilers for The Last Jedi, Star Wars Episode 8, David and Radar. Dave has seen the movie twice. I couldn't bring myself to sit through another 3 hours of disappointment. But upon a second review, Dave has found an appreciation for the movie. So I'll ask Dave, first and foremost, what did you like about the movie?
Well, that's a difficult question to answer because a lot of it's intangible. It was just, there were things that I just got a better feeling from it the second time around. And not all the things, but many of the things that I kind of went, come on, that. Like when I watched it the second time.
What?
Okay, for example, I think specifically right after we saw it the first time.
We'll try to go in order of the movie, but I'm sure we're going to jump around a little.
No, because this is closer to the end, my very first example. When we were talking about jokes and like...
You waited 2.5 hours and then you liked what?
Well, no, I mean, I like stuff all throughout. There were things that when I was watching it the first time, like, I felt like, okay, like, when Luke first, like, comes up, like, meets, like, sees R2 again, like, I felt like that should have been, like, a bigger thing the first time.
I like that.
And when I watched, that's what I'm saying, when I watched it the second time, I don't know, I felt it that time. It's just one of those things. I just felt it that time.
Okay.
Like, the emotional bond between the two.
But you didn't like that the first time? Like,
it's not that I didn't like it.
Service?
It's not that, no, it wasn't that. It was just that when I watched it the first time, I said, hey, like, I should feel something from this.
And let me, like, there's a lot of
reunion that I didn't feel.
I don't know if you see
but then I felt it a couple days later. No, I saw you like smacking your hat around.
No, not even that. Like, there was parts of this movie where I'm genuinely, like, edge of my seat, ready to find out what happens next.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they paid off a few times. But what makes it so bad for me is how they treated the characters from the original trilogy, which, like, people wanted them back, people wanted to see them. And we saw them.
But they also kind of didn't, though.
Fuck.
Like, a lot of people are kind of like, oh, there's that guy again. Hey, how come we can't ever see, like, these other guys? Why do we always have to see, you know, Luke's story?
Because
like,
the story is about
right,
Skywalker.
Exactly.
This trilogy, or what's a 9-movie series? What do you call that? The Sept trilogy?
I don't know. But no,
I think it is.
No, I feel the same way. Exactly. Like, that's the story we're telling. Nobody watched season 7 of Breaking Bad and they were like, more Walter White? Of course it's about Luke Skywalker still and all that. Of course all the things that we know are going to be in all the movies because that's the story that's being told.
But they're almost not in this movie. Nothing happens in this movie except, like, this broadening of Force powers, which I thought was stupid. And not, if it was going to pay off, it should have paid the strength to, like, astral project your fucking image and physicality through the Force was ridiculous to me, especially from Kylo and Rey, because I didn't see them growing that strong.
Right, but they
just want us to believe that they're the two strongest Force users in the galaxy, possibly only, but not really.
No, because we're only seeing a very small part of the galaxy. Who knows what else is out there?
Right, but that's what's interesting is the story, is the characters and their development.
Yeah, like
through the telling of this story. Like, what are we looking forward to in Episode 9? You have no idea.
No, I mean, like, Rey and Kylo are going to have some sort of showdown. Either, hopefully, that she, kills Kylo, or, she turns him.
We did not even have a lightsaber on lightsaber battle in this movie.
No, we didn't.
And this is, and
I'm okay with that, actually.
Needed it. You sort of needed it.
I mean, we got a lot of stand-ins
for it. If it was just training. I don't care who you would have trained. Kylo, if this is Kylo's story, which it probably is, like, show him then with Snoke. What makes Snoke so special? What can he do? And what did he already teach Kylo? How are they going to complete their training? Which are literally words they said in Episode 7.
That is one kind of weird thing. Like,
and there was no time that passed, so you couldn't even do like a, I don't even know, like a one word. Like a 2-paragraph fucking soliloquy on why he's so strong. If anything, they fucking beat him down in this movie, which made him... That's what they tried to do. They were like, his emotional hatred.
Knowing that now, like, you pick up on more things where they point that out. The fact that, like, like, Snoke says something like, oh, when you killed Han, like, it caused you, like, it's bringing something up in him. That's why he's weaker now. Not weaker, but why he doesn't seem as strong. Because he does have more, like, emotional conflict inside. He can't tap that dark side power as strong as he could because he is wavering.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, he is, but I don't know. Ren's story in this is the best one. It's the only one that's even coherent. Like, what the fuck are Rey and Luke doing on that island? Literally nothing. Like, almost literally nothing. They're milking fucking aliens. Chewie's fucking around with the porgs, and Rey is like destroying shit.
She's got to work to get Luke to come around and like help her out. She's conflicted too.
On the second watch, was that like in any way fleshed out? Them on the island. Like, I saw Luke as a Yoda figure, kind of like recluse, kind of losing it a little bit.
It was even to a more extreme though, right? Like, he's done. Like, it's going to take more work to like bring him back.
What was the work that was done? Like, no one. Did we even communicate anything to Luke? Updates, blah blah blah. We need you because of this specific reason. Like,
well, because first she said, "Listen, like, we need you to like help with the resistance," and he said, "I'm not doing that." But then she said, "Listen, I forget the resistance. Like, I personally need you because I am in this turmoil."
Yeah, she needed.
And eventually he came around, yeah. It just took a lot to, like, convince him, because the last time he was confronted with a guy with turmoil, it went as poorly as it could have.
He didn't, I don't feel like they told that story. I don't feel like they told that story at all.
No, they did. Like, once you, that's why I'm saying, I think a second watch, like, once you already know that that's a story they're trying to tell, maybe they could have told it better. I'll say that. They could have told it better. But once you know the story that they're trying to tell, having seen it, when you go back, you kind of see it a little better. You're like, oh, that's what they were going for there. I really do feel that way. And again, I'm not saying that it was, like, great. I didn't come out of it going like, whoa, all the flaws. Now I see that they're right. Like, that's not the case. And if someone says, like you're saying, like, all the problems you have with it, like, I can't tell you you're wrong. I'm just saying I do think you notice those things that they didn't do a great job on a lot of the points that, like, you wanted them to hit. But you do see, I think, what they were going for when you watch it a second time, now that you do know what they were going for.
What were they going for?
All the things, like,
Luke was afraid to train her because she's so strong.
Yeah, because not only, like, because when he said that thing, oh, I wasn't scared then and I am scared now. Right. Because she got attracted right to that
heavy shit
dark side hole.
Because you don't know shit. She's like a baby playing with the Force.
Right, exactly. Luke was mistaken.
7, obviously she's like a 20-something-year-old actress. But in my head, and I think they did a good job of portraying this, she was, like, pretty immature. She was almost supposed to be, like, between 17 and 20 or something. Mm-hmm. Like, very young, very immature, just, trying to get by on this junk planet.
Right.
She fought a little bit, but, like, she was just a kid. She needed guidance.
Right. That was a mistake on Luke's part to automatically assume the worst. And that's why it took a longer time than you would think it might have for him to, like, come around and decide, like, yes, you're right, and I'm going to, help you as best I can.
But I don't think, how do they do that? I don't remember a lot of Luke helping her to control the Force powers.
I mean, he really didn't, because for the
if anything, Snoke is more involved with what he was saying about he was facilitating those. Right,
because for the first half of their training, I think Luke's agenda is to do the opposite, to convince her why the Jedi need to end. And it's not until she says, you know what, forget you then, and she leaves. And when he says, yeah, I
agree with Luke.
And when I am going to destroy all this, and he goes to destroy it all. And then Yoda says that thing about failure being the best teacher. And I think that's when he kind of comes around and he goes back to take care of what his failure was. His failure was the way he dealt with Kylo.
Okay. So yeah,
and that's why when he comes back and he says, I'm here to, finish what I started, and obviously I can't save him. This isn't, I already messed this up. So now it's up to me to, finish it.
But he didn't even do that.
Well, no, he didn't.
He didn't do that at all.
I mean, he gave them time to escape. And see, that was another thing. That was another nitpick. That when you were talking about the jokes, and I was saying that when he does that thing where brooks his when they hit him with the barrage of everything, brushes his shoulder. The first time, I really rolled my eyes at that. I was like, that was so stupid.
He could have just brushed, he could have brushed up the front of his cloak, right. And I'd have felt better.
But no, I'll say this: watching it the second time, I think the thing about the jokes is, I think a lot of them weren't necessarily intended as jokes. I think people just took them that way. I know.
They were that stupid.
There were a lot of jokes. I'm not saying there weren't. There was a lot of jokes that kind of like they seemed out of place. But no, I kind of took it the second time.
Star Wars always had humor.
Right.
But it doesn't
there's a difference between humor and jokes. Yeah. But when he brushed his shoulder like that, I took it more as like a taunt rather than like trying to be funny. Because that was kind of like one more thing that like kind of like set Kylo over the edge. Yeah, exactly. He was trying to draw him out, kind of like let his emotions get the better of him. And I think doing that was kind of like saying like, hey, you know, you gave me your best shot and it didn't work.
I didn't completely hate the end where Luke shows up. I would have rather seen an Obi-Wan moment than I would have rather seen him fly in, maybe destroy a couple of those machines. Like maybe he comes in the flesh and he takes out those giant, like the gorilla walkers, like with the Force. Like, show me something, dude. Like, just show me something epic. This is Star Wars. We're telling a story, and like, I'm sick of telling it, like leaving shit to my imagination. Like, I gotta imagine how Rey is so important to the Force, and how Kylo turned. And now we know. Yeah, we know. Like 3 shitty flashbacks. Sort of. I mean, we know what happened. I guess.
We know what happened.
And I don't know if I like that direction for Luke. Like, you think that's Luke?
No, you know what?
Luke's move.
That is one thing I'll say, and that's
cut his nephew in half.
Well, he said that it was just a fleeting moment, you know, and he immediately regretted it. But no, I will say this, and this is more on me. It's partially on the movie, but it's mostly on me. I'm an EU guy. I don't apologize for that, and it is a little hard for me to reconcile the Luke that I know and have known for the last 20 years, like with what they did decide to do with him.
That's why I feel like it's making excuses for the movie, because I'm not going to say they knew what we wanted from the Luke Skywalker appearance, you know, back in the movies. And I don't know what the fuck they did with it. Like, it's just disappointing. It's really disappointing. And you know what? Even worse than that, because okay, maybe however long on that island has changed him irreparably. Maybe all he has is one last shebang, and it wasn't bad how they paid it off in the end. But like I said, I would have rather had an Obi-Wan moment where he's actually there fighting, and then he like this. Fine, I don't care if it mirrors. I don't really care.
Dude, when I was there with the crowd of kids and so on, man, like they loved that when they
clapped when that happened.
Yeah,
you know.
But that's what I'm like. When I saw it the second time, everyone was going like when they cut back and you see that like he's not really there. People were losing their minds for that.
I can't even. If they want to have the Force Skype between Rey and Kylo in the next movie, like that's where they should have introduced it, is what I'm saying. Like, and then have Luke discover this new power in the Force where he can transmute fucking matter literally across the fucking solar system.
I guess, dude. But you know, I mean, the thing with like Rey and Kylo, if we take it at face value, okay, they are like exceptionally strong. A and B, Snoke was also using his power to kind of augment that. I mean, there are parts in like the original trilogy where they very briefly have people like touch minds from like a great distance. Yeah. So if you want to look at it like
where, okay, can you give me an example? I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I can only recall like maybe when ships are in orbit or like
no, well, yeah, something like there was one part, and I don't remember the specifics.
In orbit around that planet.
Like Vader was somewhere, and like he knew that Luke was like out there. There's a part like that
in Jedi he can tell Vader can tell when Luke is like on his way from Dagobah to wherever that planet is.
But the idea that like it depends on if you accept this or not. Is that Kylo, as far as raw power goes, is stronger than Vader, and Rey is in theory stronger than Luke. Plus, they're being augmented by Snoke, whatever he is.
I mean, yeah.
And it's not like they held it like happened. You know they had long enough for like some lines.
I think. They sort of kind of got there with the mind, like, melding from Episode 7. But I thought it was, like, a huge leap. I'm still not buying... I'm not completely buying Rey and Kylo as supreme Force wielders. And there was no wisdom imparted from Luke to Rey, which was...
No, I agree.
Which was the point of Luke going to Dagobah. It's not like... There was a montage on Dagobah, you know?
Yeah, of him, like, training, yeah.
And it was cool. Like, I dig it. So maybe you don't do that again, but you have a moment of clarity between both of them where they both understand, because Luke is, you know, in his roundabout way teaching her something. So maybe you don't do that again, but you have a moment of clarity between both of them where they both understand, because Luke is, you know, in his roundabout way teaching her something. There was nothing like that.
Right, because he's not trying. Like
she fucks around with the lightsaber on a cliffside with a rock and then cuts it in half and then.
Because what he was trying to what he was trying to teach her wasn't how to be a good Jedi. What he was trying to teach her was why the Jedi should end. And we do see him try and impart that lesson, but that's because he is ultimately mistaken. That's why we never see like a montage of them training, because he never wanted to train her. He wanted to convince her to stop training.
I think that's a bad move on the storytelling part. That's a direction I don't like Luke going in.
But then ultimately he did decide that he was wrong and showed up to help out just a little bit at the end.
Just a little.
Because that's all he had left in him.
All right. I mean, if that's it, I'm disappointed now because that's in the movie. That's canon. That's set in stone. And that's we can't take that back now.
I agree. No, I do agree with that. Like I was saying, like I like the Luke that I've always known better.
I'm saying,
and it would have been cool if they had done that. But
first scene, episode 9, Finn wakes up just all disoriented. You know, oh my God, where's Rey? You know, like it never happened.
Well, that would be really if that's what they did.
Like Super Mario 2, the whole thing.
Yeah.
So Luke, the direction of Luke and the weird Force Skype are 2 of my 3 biggest movie. They're not even movie killers. They're like Star Wars killers. I'm mad now. Like I'm upset. I don't like Star Wars that much anymore after this movie because I don't like the Force and I don't like how they're using it. The Force isn't like it's not like a Marvel superpower. Like you can't just do whatever you want just because the Force. That's not how it works. That's not how that's not why people love the concept of the Force.
But the Force exists between every thing. So why can't you touch another Force user with your mind? I don't think that's
touch them with
your
hand and raindrops.
I mean, I don't
can't
think
splash them with water.
I don't think they were really touching each other's hands. I think it was just supposed to be each of them are in their minds seeing that.
Look, fucking Luke walks in and they're like doing whatever. Like they get caught.
Yes and no.
Doing whatever they're doing.
When Luke shows up, he immediately goes no, and when they kind of pan the camera back, Kylo's not there anymore.
That's
like
where Luke should have been like, wait a minute, what the fuck? And then took control. That's what Luke. That's what a mature adult would do.
Right, but he's not a mature adult. He ran away.
What a mature adult
right,
would
but
do.
that's not. Luke's not a mature adult. He ran away when things got tough, and he decided that the best way to do it. No, I agree.
Horrible. All right,
but then he comes around eventually. Too little, too late, kind of. But he does come around.
The third thing is Leia. What the fuck? And this is almost
like when she flies across back to the ship.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then stays alive for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were thinking. Did no one watch this movie before it came out? Like no Star Wars fans watched this and was like, Brian, dude, I don't think so, man. Like,
see, I'm willing. I mean, if you already have the thing about how the Force isn't magic, I'm willing to. To me, the biggest problem was just that it looked stupid. I can accept that, like, she sensed something was about to happen, so really quick, like, went into a Force trance. I'll buy that. I'm willing to accept that. But the way that, like, when she kind of, like, pointed her hand and then, like, the way she flew, it looked poor.
It looked stupid.
Like, if there was a way they could have made it look better, like, I'm okay with the story, with the idea that she Force tranced and, like, survived that. I can accept that.
Like, one last message or something to, like, someone Poe, you know. I don't think Finn was around at that point. But maybe Poe. What I thought was the worst about that, not even how stupid it looked. That's like very close second. Mm-hmm. How they lined it up and how they killed her, in quotes, I thought was great. I was like, that was one of the points where I'm on the edge of my seat, like, holy shit. Because it's Kylo Ren.
Like the actual cinematography kind of?
No, like the whole scene where it's Kylo Ren.
Right.
He's targeting on the bridge of the ship. He's damn near in tears as it targets the bridge. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't pull the trigger.
Yeah.
And then they kill him.
Someone else takes the shot.
I thought it was beautiful. I thought this, like, everything about it. I was like, and now Leia's dead. Not by his hand, but, you know, your actions have repercussions.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, where you were going, this is where you were going anyway. So regardless of whether you can do it or not, or you did do it, it happened.
Now, you know what? That makes
true. That develops Ren's character It's beautiful. It's a great send off for Carrie Fisher. That's war, you know? And then she flies back like Superman. One of the worst scenes I've ever seen in a fucking, that I think took me out of it.
You know what? I get that.
Kind of critical after that.
That makes sense. I do agree. Like, not like the way you just like put it like that, that would have been a good moment had they not.
I fucking loved it until she flew back onto the ship. Right. I'm like, this is bad.
Yeah.
This is not gonna.
Like, I'm like, as far as like, how did she survive it? I'm okay with that. I'll buy that. But the fact that, yeah, you know what? that could have been a good moment, and then they sort of undid it. Yeah, you know what? That is a good point.
Awesome.
That is a good point.
It was one of the. It would have been the greatest fucking scene in either of the two movies. I don't think they did a great job with Han's death. I don't think they built that up enough.
I agree.
See, I didn't see a lot of criticisms when The Force Awakens came out, other than it was a parody of A New Hope and like parts of other movies. But there wasn't a lot of straight up criticism of how they shot at the story they were telling.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And the first thing I said, I think, was it's a great setup for the rest of these movies.
Yeah.
And then they undid a lot of that with this one. And R2 gets one scene. Are you fucking kidding me?
Who cares?
I mean, who cares? Yeah. But come on. I mean, he can't he be doing something?
I'm sure he was around doing other stuff. It just, yeah.
See, and you know what else would have been a cool scene? See, I'm just imagining, like I did with the prequels.
Right.
Like, cool scenes, or like what could it have? I try to use the characters and make a coherent movie in my head.
Right.
So I can lie to myself and tell myself I still like Star Wars. So they show the X-Wing in the water.
Yeah.
Cool, like, homage to, like, and I'm like, okay, maybe, like, he's coming back. Like, obviously, coming back. He's going to do something. But that never happens. And wouldn't it have been awesome to, Rey's gone, right? Luke maybe sees Rey leaving, the ship flies away. He's a little sad.
Right.
I could have did more. And then he wants to go. This is the cool part. Maybe Rey, like, he doesn't even know, like, Rey, what happened.
Right.
We don't know either.
Right.
But then we see the X-Wing like set up
on land,
and R2's like fucking around with it. He's getting it ready to go. And then, and then we don't see it, but like Rey shows her powers.
Right.
By lifting it. And you don't have to do nothing to set that up. You got to do nothing.
You just show a scene of the X-Wing already on land.
On fucking land. And we're like, holy shit. Rey is strong with the Force. And we get to see Luke and R2 together and Luke and the X-Wing. I'm okay with some fan service. That's how you, like, but tell me a good story.
You should have written the guy a letter.
I'm telling you, man. I would, before you got here, I'm like, do I got to write these movies and just send them to people?
You should write more letters. I mean,
for episode 9. I mean, they clearly don't have a movie. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, I'm sure you could probably say, here's what I'd like to see. They probably get a lot of that, though.
They probably do. Which is, how do they not know what to do with these movies?
I wanted to send them a letter about what I wanted to see in the Han Solo movie, but it's like, it's probably too late for that.
Nothing. You don't want to see a Han Solo movie. It should have been a Boba Fett movie where Han Solo just makes an appearance. That way you can develop the character a little bit, tell a little bit of the story, but really tell more of a Boba Fett story.
Yeah.
And you can have the Lando in there, whatever. The young Lando.
I really have no strong opinion either way, honestly, on the Han Solo thing. I don't
care. I'm like, if the second viewing of this better, like,
Well, part of it depends on your attitude going into it.
Out of it before I see it again.
Yeah, I mean that might be difficult for you to get over then. You probably won't have any different opinion on a second viewing.
It was really, I mean, when you asked me if I wanted to go yesterday, I really did. But like this 3 hours, and I was sure. Yeah. It was cringeworthy.
It was cringe. The first time, like, it felt like it was about 5 hours long, and it felt like maybe like an hour and a half the second time.
Okay.
It moved the second time.
I thought about just going for a little bit and then going to watch the Eagles game at a bar, like in the area.
You just be like, text me when the Leia thing's over, and I'll be back.
All right, so I'll tell you a couple of the things that I liked about it.
Okay.
I liked the first scene with Poe, where he's like fucking with Hux.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
That's good.
Yeah,
like that was a nice bit of humor.
Right.
Because it's in line with his character.
Right, exactly. Like, it's just regular banter. There's a difference between funny dialogue and jokes, and that was funny dialogue.
And he's like an ace pilot, so they use blasting shit up. That's what we want to see. Mm-hmm. But then they put him on the ship for, like, damn near the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
The next 2 hours. And they could have did that a lot better, too. Like, they could have given his story more weight.
Yeah. That was the thing. I think there were just too many stories to give any one of them like all the weight that it deserved.
A lot of people are complaining about that casino scene.
I guess I get that.
It was in a bad place in the movie.
Yeah.
If they open with that and they were like, "Who the fuck Finn is just running around with like some ragtag Asian girl, like Asian like engineer or whatever?" That would have been cool because it would have showed that like maybe Finn is like a man of the people. He's out there. He's doing like the dirty work for the resistance. Like he was doing the dirty work for the First Order. Yeah, but that would have required the movie take place like at least a couple weeks after because he was all tore up at the end of the movie, wasn't he? Like I thought he died in that fight. I was like, damn, they just killed that dude because he just got his spine severed by a lightsaber.
I feel like, and this is having not seen it, I feel like we do know by the end of the movie that he's not dead.
Oh yeah. But when it happened, in the fight, I'm like, that dude's dead. But nope, he's fucking good to go. They even made that stupid when he came out of the pod or whatever. They found some way to make that dumb.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was, but it's also, to me, that's such a small thing that by itself, I don't think is something I even think twice about.
Yeah, I know. That's the little shit you try to get over, but then it just sort of it's sort of piling up. Like Leia, Luke. I'm sorry, but I'm a Star Wars fan. I still want to see them characters play out in a way that kind of stays true to their character. I don't need a big twist. You know? Luke fucking Skywalker, are you kidding? You ruined the legacy of Luke Skywalker. You at least drastically changed his demeanor.
Yeah.
With a few strokes of a fucking Word, Microsoft Word. Is that how they write shit now? You know? You didn't even tell us a cool story on how Luke went fucking nuts. And why we should, after loving the Jedi for, 60 years, the better part of 60 years, why now we gotta get rid of them. It just doesn't make sense. That might be the end of Star Wars.
What I want to say real quick is that I know that, and this isn't anything you've brought up. I have no idea what your opinion is, but I know we mentioned previously about how we both kind of ignored leading into it all the trailers and commercials and this and that. And I didn't pay attention to any of the hype, but it's impossible to not kind of see the hype around the hype kind of. And I know that there's kind of this feeling or a fear out there that the Porgs are like modern day Ewoks, like crass commercial creatures,
worse.
Only designed to appeal to children and sell merchandise. But I feel A, they were used very sparingly, and B, I don't care because they were adorable and hilarious. And I don't think they're any worse than BB-8 is. I think if you take issue with the Porgs, you have to take issue with BB-8 also. I wasn't
even going to bring up the Porgs because this is a serious discussion about Star Wars.
Well, that's why I waited till we'd kind of gotten all that out of the way. I didn't want to make that a serious topic because it's not a serious topic. But I love the Porgs.
They're unnecessary. They're not that cute.
They're just creatures of the island, man. They're pretty cute.
And we brought some of them with us. They're all over that fucking ship.
There was a couple, yeah. Oh no, yeah, because there were those ones there were those nesting ones. There were those baby ones being born. But that's what I'm saying.
Maybe Chewie just kept them around so he could snack on them.
They did use them pretty sparingly.
Sparingly?
They were sparingly.
In the last
compared to the Ewoks,
remember where Chewie swats it off the dashboard?
Yeah.
Wasn't that the third time they show?
Yeah, they're only in it 2 or 3 times.
No. I mean in that sequence where Chewie is flying the Falcon. Which again, the more I talk about this movie, it's ridiculous. Why is Chewie piloting the Millennium Falcon?
Who else is going to pilot the Millennium Falcon?
Rey?
She's in the gun turret.
Why?
Because she's got the Force and
Chewie is the fucking engineer. The gunner / engineer is Chewie. Rey is the pilot as set up in The Force Awakens.
I guess.
Somehow she's flying the Falcon.
But Chewie knows the nuances of the Falcon better.
Which is why he should be in a support position.
I guess.
Don't make no fucking sense.
I think that's the smallest,
exactly
dumbest thing that you could get upset about.
No.
Of course, who cares if he's flying the Falcon? He feels like a sentimental relationship to the Falcon.
I know. I mean, I know.
So let him fly it.
What else? What else did I like anything else about this?
What did you think of the Infinity War trailer before the movie?
For anyone who wants to pay us, I'll fanboy for these Marvel and DC movies. all day long. I don't care about the Marvel Universe.
Listen, I saw the newest Thor after having seen no other Marvel movies, and I loved it.
I mean, I'll get into it for the right price. Until then, we'll just have to maybe review them.
Yeah.
And I'll act like I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I really don't know what I'm talking about.
I really want to think of other things that I like about this movie. What do you think about... We didn't even talk about Snoke, really. What do you think about Snoke?
I think, going back to that show not tell thing, I think they could have handled, like, when he's literally saying, and now he's turning his weapon towards his true enemy, they could have handled that a little better. They should have had just different camera shots of just, maybe we see the lightsaber start to turn, and they make a point of showing, like, him turning the lightsaber in his hand. Because obviously...
Kylo.
Yeah, Kylo.
We don't have to see the lightsaber at all spinning on the chair.
No, we don't. But if we do, I'm okay with just that. I don't think we need to hear Snoke say each line. Because if they just kill him, we are going to say to ourselves, like, wait a minute, if Snoke's supposed to be so powerful, how did he not see this? I think we need to see that Kylo's doing the same thing as the lightsaber's doing, because he's kind of masking what Snoke thinks is happening. Like, when Snoke says all that stuff, he thinks that Kylo's thinking about Ren, but Kylo's really thinking it about Snoke. I just don't think Snoke needed to, like, line by line say every last bit of, like, what's about to happen. I don't mind seeing the lightsaber.
Do you think that he needed to die?
I mean,
do you think that he's really dead? First of all, let's ask.
Oh yeah, he's definitely dead, because that's the thing now. Kylo's going to be the new big bad.
You don't think Huck's got him like in a back to tank?
No,
like both halves of him, and like his hand is in like a different one.
No, I if that's the way they go, like, then I'm going to be where you are now. I'm going to be like, that was the worst thing they could have done, and that's ridiculous. There's no way. In
the Clone Wars cartoon, where they brought Darth Maul back after being cut in half.
Yeah, and he had those like chicken legs.
I like that.
Yeah.
I didn't hate that. I like that.
I mean, listen, if they do,
I've expanded my.
There are a lot of things
to accept from Star Wars, and this movie, like,
that's not like. Listen,
pop the balloon.
If they do bring Snoke back, I'm open to the possibility that if they do a fantastic storytelling job of why and how and for what and all that, fine, then he's back. But
in dream sequence,
that's stupid.
Save the franchise with a Finn dream sequence. Like, what? Oh, where's Rey? And then
you see Rey and Luke actually training. That's what you want to see.
I actually think it would have been cooler to see Kylo Ren training. Like, we'll see a little bit of dark side, like, behind the scenes.
Yeah.
How does that work? But whatever. There was one more thing I was going to bring up. The fight scene in the Emperor Snoke's throne room.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I again, like,
is that better on the? Because
I've already said this 100 times. It was a little better coming back, because you sort of see. I don't know if it was just like shot.
I didn't like when one guy turned into confetti. I thought it was dumb.
But yeah, that was.
What did he fall into?
They could have gone. I don't know, like a turbine of some sort, an engine. I don't know.
All right,
but
I guess things were falling apart at that point.
Yeah, but no, it's not great. You're not going to go back and be telling people like, oh, there was this one battle, but it wasn't. Like, coming out of it the first time, I kind of went, that didn't seem that great. It was fine. It really isn't. It really is a fine fight.
Okay, now did I mentioned this to you on the ride home? I think because I was like expecting this, and I would have like cheered out loud if it happened.
If she cut off,
when they're fighting with the Force over the lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
Can someone please win? Can we have like a hint, like who's a little bit stronger? It just literally breaks in half. Like, they take no fucking sides in this movie at all, right? And the way I explained it to you and how I feel about the Force is the further you are from the center, the more dark you are or the more light you are.
Yeah.
The stronger you are with the Force and the more ability you have.
You can, like, tap into it easier.
Right. So they're both equally conflicted? I don't know. It seems like Kylo Ren is a little bit more.
Maybe, but I think
and
each
they
of them
bitched him up completely in this movie. Like, he's more of a kid than he was in the last movie when I feel like he was a kid.
Right, because now he's wavering. But I don't think he is by the end. Like, he thinks he's like full in, like, because there's the thing where like in regards to what you just said about can one of them win, like Snoke said that thing about the stronger you get, like the stronger your light side counterpart is going to get. He's like, and I thought that was Skywalker, but it was right. But
so we don't need training anymore, or like guidance for the Force. Like it just grows in you regardless, based on someone else's Force abilities. How's it grow in them?
I think they are wavering equally though, because each of them, like when they were doing that thing where they're like touching hands like across the galaxy or whatever, they both kind of saw the same scene, but from their own point of view. They both thought that the other was going to turn and stand by their side.
Right.
Like the scene that they saw the two of them together.
Which is probably Snoke's interference.
Right. But that like Rey saw that as, hey, he's going to come back and like help us beat the Resistance. And Kylo saw that as, we're going to kill Snoke and we're just going to take over. Yeah. But they both kind of saw the other one as being an eventual ally.
Yeah, I just wanted to see her, like, boom, they could fight over it, you know, and then she eventually gets it and just cuts his hand off. Because that's like, boom, boom, that's like the beats of Star Wars, that people lose limbs.
Right.
And, like, I thought they were going to, like, in the last movie, they took a couple chunks out of him, you know what I mean?
Did they?
I mean, he
got that scar on his face.
They got him in his face.
Yeah.
You know? They got him in the side. Chewie shot him in the side. Punching his little fucking, punching the wound to gain, like, strength or something, you know? So, like, I thought they were just going to keep taking chunks out of him throughout all the movies, and that, which would have left him, like, he's more machine than man. No.
Right.
That kind of, but you don't turn him into a robot. You just make him less of a man, like, literally.
Right.
You know? Not beat him down like an abused fucking child. Uncle Luke standing over him with his saber out. Get the fuck out of here. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's all a dream. Yeah, I think, I don't know, man. This movie's like dying for a fan edit. I think they can edit around some of the shit and make me have a enjoyable experience watching the second part of this trilogy.
I can see that.
Because what's gonna, like,
for you, I mean,
what do you think is gonna happen in the next one? Like, can you even garner a guess?
Yeah, I mean, I guess now Kylo's in charge of the bad guys, and I don't know. He and Rey have a showdown.
There's 6 rebels left.
Well, yeah, that's going to be
the rebellion again.
Yeah, I mean, that's the story now. I guess. Like, how do they come back from that?
You know what I thought was the hands down best scene in the whole movie. Encapsulated everything that the stupid ass director was trying to say. It took him 3 hours. Whoever wrote this last scene, I guarantee it wasn't him, or maybe it was. Maybe it was. This might be the first thing he wrote because it was genius. Where the kids telling the legend of Luke Skywalker. I think they're talking about what just happened.
Yeah.
Alien runs in. Cool.
Yeah.
Scares all the kids away. Goes outside. And just real quick, you see the kid like force grab a broom off the thing to start sweeping. Yeah. And then they zoom in on this ring. You got the rebellion ring. Yeah. I was like, that is Star Wars. That's Star Wars. That's in a nutshell. Like, that's what it is.
Elaborate on that.
It's generational.
Like, I don't disagree with you. I just like what grabbed you about that scene.
It's generational. It's like whether it's through the fans passing it down to their kids, like in the real world, or the story of Anakin Skywalker to his offspring, to their family, chaos, falling apart. You know, like, I don't know. Just seeing the next generation of, I guess, the Resistance, because when they called from the Salt Planet, Crate, no one came. Right. You know? So all they're fighting, all they're resisting of the First Order, they're blowing up of the space. They garnered them nothing, but I don't know. Somehow there's going to be a new generation.
But you know that they did, make some sort of connection, but it's just like very early on.
I don't know. And it shouldn't be, because this is like the 9th movie in this epoch, however you say that word, of time, where this family's lineage is like taking place. So like things are happening. There should be some kind of something already brewing, and we don't get to see that. And you know why I liked it too? Because it shows the civilian. Yeah. That shows the civilian,
just like the people on the planet who live their regular everyday lives.
Yeah,
not involved in a battle or any sort of like political.
Right, and kind of like Luke, when when we first see Luke,
he's just some
pissed
guy
off because he can't go join the Empire.
Yeah.
Am I wrong? Like that? He's like,
no, that's true.
Why can't I go join?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. His friends are joining.
Yeah.
Biggs is there.
Yeah.
Darklighter.
Yeah. So like, that's just like, now we got a kid. Maybe once he's gonna be fucking Hux's replacement in a couple of years. Once his story gets switched around 25 million times.
No, because he wants to be a rebel. That's why he has the ring. That's why he was happy when he saw that the girl had
now
the
they're
ring.
going to throw a fucking million wrenches in it to try to keep it fresh as they try to close it out. Let's wrap it up nice.
I feel like that kid probably will have no bearing on episode 9. I mean, that would be neat if they found a way to, I guess, weave that in. I feel that was just kind of like a throwaway scene, sort of. Not a throwaway scene.
We got Crowbar and another character to run around with on some other stupid side mission with Finn. Just real disappointed. Yeah. And I'm not excited for the next one because there's nothing for me to be like, oh, what happens next? Unless I miss something. But I don't think I did.
I am excited for the next one for the same reason, because I don't know what's going to happen next in a way that I wasn't excited for this one. Like when the first one ended, and this is probably the reverse of how it should have been. Like when you see okay, she just met Luke, and then that's the end of the movie. It's like it's supposed to be like, oh man, what's Luke going to do now? But I didn't feel that. I went, all right, check back in 2 years. But this time now I do like, oh, now I want to see the next episode because what's going to happen?
You gotta look up what Luke was saying about the movie before it came out. And by Luke, I mean Mark Hamill.
See, I don't care about any of that though. I decide I don't know, when I read what other people stuff like that, I just kind of, I don't know. I used to read all that stuff, and now when I do it now, I'm like, I don't even what am I doing this for? Yeah, I'm sure they are.
I guess I thought he was a Star Wars hater, like Harrison Ford.
Yeah,
but maybe not. But maybe he is now. I don't know. If I had to, I stand by what I said. As a Star Wars fan, it's not a great Star Wars movie. But if you're looking for some stupid fun, you have 3 hours to kill. It seems almost like a fuck you. Episode 7 was so good and started it off so well. They just squash all those storylines in the second one, and then have the guy who directed the first one come back and direct the third one. What are you thinking?
Well, I think initially they were going to have someone different direct all of them.
I think so.
But then
too.
The Jurassic World dude was going to direct 9. And then they realized, wait a minute, this guy isn't that great. So they dumped him.
They're dumping all the directors.
Yeah.
They dumped the directors for the Han Solo.
Yeah.
Standalone.
I wish they would have kept those guys. I like those guys.
Wow, what did they do?
They did the Lego movie and Clone High.
Yeah.
Remember Clone High?
No.
The cartoon?
Nope.
It was on MTV. It was about a guy who cloned a bunch of historical figures, and they all went to high school together. Kennedy and Lincoln and Cleopatra. It's Will Forte and Nicole Sullivan and the guy who does SpongeBob's voice.
It sounds interesting.
If you saw it, you might kind of be like, oh, kind of that. It was one of those late 90s MTV cartoons.
All right.
I mean, it was only around for one season.
I definitely don't remember.
No. Well, they did that. Watch it. It's not terrible. And, they did the Lego movie and some other stuff that escapes me at the moment.
I think we got confirmation on an Obi-Wan movie.
Yeah?
Which probably is the first one you should have made, but maybe they're trying to test out some things with Rogue One and the Han Solo one. I'm surprised how consistently good the Clone Wars was.
Yeah.
And then I almost had, and then Episode 7 was good, and I almost had no fear that this one was going to be bad. Minus a couple things, I thought it was good, but those things are really bad.
Yeah.
I got to go for I don't know, 2 stars out of 5, 4 out of 10 stars.
I try not to do stars.
I don't want to do stars, but if I have to give a percentage rating, I'm way down. And that's with some of the good stuff.
I give it 6 lightsabers. Nah. Probably it's too late to write them a letter about the Han Solo movie. It's already done. It's coming out.
You never know. When is it coming out?
May.
Really?
Yeah.
So we should get a trailer soon.
Yeah. It's the shortest by far like the shortest downtime between.
I gotta see Han Solo, what he looks like on the screen. I can't believe they're gonna remake an iconic character like that. It's the dumbest thing you could do. It's too much happening, and not enough progression of the story. Except where they progressed it to an end. What the fuck is happening in the next movie? They want people to just not speculate on the next. We're just gonna destroy all the characters except for Rey and Kylo. Who else do we care about at this point? We're supposed to still care about Poe and Finn, like they did something.
Yeah,
like they have any relevance.
I mean, they had to take a backseat this movie, and now they'll be back in the next one.
I thought they were going to leave Finn out of this one entirely.
Yeah, that probably would have been a good move,
and it would have made more. It would have made more sense, especially if you're starting it right after Episode 7, or at least leave him out to the end, and he busts out and does something. Why was he not with Poe? They became friends during the first movie.
Right.
It was like a buddy fucking comedy for the first 20 minutes. And then they really had little interaction after that. Especially when the first thing that happens in this movie is that they meet each other.
Poe's on the ship, and Finn has to go do stuff. Because I don't think Finn's really under anybody's command. Poe has to listen to the vice admiral or whatever.
Right. Was it a bad move to keep Poe on the ship the entire time and just teach him lessons?
I don't think the idea to keep him on the ship and teach him lessons was a bad move. I think they did a poor job of teaching him the lesson. If they could have done a better job of teaching him the lesson, I would have been okay with them just keeping him on the ship and having him learn a lesson. But, yeah.
Yeah, maybe he has to stay behind on a mission, and then it goes terribly wrong.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? That's another thing. I have a question, and this is just a question I have that maybe you can answer or not or whatever. So in the beginning, the very first thing, Poe shows up and he's messing around with the guy, and then he starts he starts shooting all the surface cannons. So in theory, then the A-Wings can come in and drop their bombs or whatever. He blows up all the surface cannons, and then Leia's like, "All right, come back, we're leaving." What was the plan then? Because then Poe was like, "No, I already we're doing this," and that was kind of the whole.
Didn't he come back though? And then they went out again.
No, they were out there. They were all out there. That was the whole point of him being there. He was out there to destroy the surface cannons, so then the A-Wings could come in. He destroys the surface cannons, and he says, "All right, let's bring the A-Wings in." And Leia's like, "Nah, let's just get out of here." I didn't understand that.
Was it a fuel thing? Because
no, they didn't even
that was a big issue.
No, Leia just said listen, I don't want to run the risk of the casualties. That was the whole thing. He countermanded her orders and said, "No, we're doing it anyway." And then most of them died, and that's when Leia was all "You can't just run out there and do whatever." But that was what they were there to do in the first place, I think, unless there was something I missed or whatever.
They sent all the bombers out when one of them was enough to blow up the fucking dreadnought.
Apparently, yeah. Well, they didn't. I mean, the dreadnought was still around for a while.
I thought there was I think there was another one. I don't know.
I don't.
Yeah, if I'd have went yesterday, I'd have a better idea. But
yeah.
We're going to do another one of these.
Yeah, when you watch it a second time, you remember that, because I want to know, if there was something I missed as to what their actual mission was in the very beginning.
Should be able to get tickets, regularly now.
Yeah.
So. I'll see it again, get some other people in here. I'm happy that you defended it a little bit. I thought that you might, but a couple of my other friends who usually do defend it, they were not happy either.
And again, listen, I'm not coming away from it going you don't understand, man, this movie is great. We just misunderstood it the first time. There are valid complaints to be had. I just felt better the second time around. I don't know.
My problem is I know now that I want to like Star Wars, but I also know that I like when they do it true and they keep it not grounded in reality, but just grounded in some kind of structure.
Sure.
They're doing a good job with the First Order. They do a good job with the, I don't know what you would say, the political and military aspect of the rebellion versus the First Order. It's always, that dichotomy. But when it comes to Jedi and the Force, which is what makes Star Wars Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's what sets it apart from like Star Trek or like other just sci-fi movies.
Yeah. Any other space.
Right.
Hey, we're out in space.
Right. Like it's like Space Wizard, you know. But there's a certain like you have to. They called it a religion in the movie, and before this movie.
You know what Han calls it? Han calls it a religion.
He does, but only in
a
like a negative light, like trying to like dismiss it.
Yeah,
you know.
No, it did sound weird, like when he said that.
Yeah, only in a negative light has it ever been referred. And the other guy before he gets fucking choked by Vader, I think he calls it a religion too, like you're ancient.
Oh yeah, he does say something like that. Yeah,
fucking bitches him up because like that's disrespect.
Right.
You know, because I guess a religion is something that you blindly follow, and it's not something that just spontaneously happens to you and you don't train in, you know. But I forget where I was going with that.
Was that one of those things where you say they were using like modern colloquialism?
No, but there was a lot of that.
There was a part where like Poe says something about a big ass door. I was like, big ass door, like, come on, man.
There was like a couple like sexual jokes, like sexual innuendo, and I was like,
there?
that's not necessary. Yeah, I must have missed in particular. Some of the humor that I did.
I don't think I picked up on that.
The beginning with Poe and Hux, that was I thought that was hilarious.
That was good.
And then with the first time where Ray's sitting on the rock and fucking
and she reaches out her hand,
reach out, and she reaches out. She's like, I feel something.
Yeah.
She's like, do you? Like, that's the Force. I was cracking.
The face, like when the face he made, like when he says reach out and she reaches her hand out, like the way he kind of rolls his eyes at that, I really like the face he makes there.
Yeah, that was a good scene. But then they never that was lesson 1, I guess. 3 lessons were mentioned. I don't even think I remember 3 instances of any kind.
Yeah, I was thinking that the second time actually when he goes 3 lessons. I'm sure if I watched it a third time and paid attention to that, I might get it. But I didn't even really notice like that was the 1, 2, 3.
See, he's not even talking about 3 lessons.
Yeah, it was 3 lessons as to why the Jedi should go away.
Right. It's not even 3 training lessons. And what do they even mean? Did they mean 3 training lessons, or did they mean 3 lessons on why the Jedi need to go away?
I think it was kind of both. He's going to teach her 3 lessons, but then also in teaching the lesson, then put a spin on it as to why that's not a good thing. Something like that.
Overall, I don't know. I can't recommend it to a Star Wars fan, but they've all seen it already.
Yeah.
So it's too late. All I can do is apologize.
If someone wants to ask me if I'd like to go with them, I will go with them.
I'm gonna go see it again, but maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just wait for the video because I know someone's gonna buy it and I can watch it for free again. Because I don't know if I can watch Leia fly through space again. That was retarded. It was so bad. They killed our childhood, dude. People have said that about Star Wars. Now I know what they mean.
You know, I bet if those movies came out today, though, people would say the same kind of stuff. Because that's what I'm saying. Like, Star Wars wasn't Star Wars back when it first came out. There was nothing to compare it to. Them? But that's what I'm saying. Like,
they were good. They had to be good movies,
right? But I mean,
that's why they made. Now they just make them because they make money.
You could watch that. You could watch, A New Hope and be like, oh, how convenient. Like, Han just happened to show up and like shoot that one TIE fighter like right when we needed to. Or you could watch Return of the Jedi and be like, oh, how about that? Luke managed to make it out of the Death Star right before they blew it up.
No, Han came back. See, that's the Force. That's what the Force can do. The Force
Han
can
has
get you
no
there
connection
on time.
to the Force, though.
The Force can get you
Han
there
has nothing to do with the Force.
The Force can get you there right in the nick of time by magic.
No,
the Force can
but see, that wasn't the Force. That was they just brought Han back because they needed him to be there.
No, stop talking over me because I'm right. The Force can't teleport you through time and let you splash water on people's fucking face. That's what the Force that brings people, that's the Force that flows through all of us. The Force that told Han when to come back.
Han can't touch the Force, though.
That let Luke, it doesn't, yeah, it can't. It's through all of us. That let Luke shoot the fucking torpedo the way he needed to.
Sure.
Without the aid of the computer radar.
Right, I agree with that part.
That's the Force. Maybe he can even guide it. Maybe. If he's good. Good thing he went to see Yoda earlier.
Well, then the Force kept Leia alive because the Force knew that she was going to need to come into play later on. I guess. That's not really the argument I'm making. I'm just kind of Saying if you could say the one, you could kind of say the other, couldn't you?
No, you can say it. It doesn't make it not stupid. Like, the Force is subtle. It's subtle. That's why if you can control it and become powerful in it, it's special. That's the way I feel.
So are you contending then, and I'm just asking, is your contention that anyone could tap into the Force if they worked at it? Or are there people who, no matter how much they work at it, cannot tap into the Force?
No, I think the Force taps into you. Everyone. So if you recognize it and you accept it and then you work towards it, like a meditation, like I don't want to oversimplify it, but
right.
like, you feel it, not with your hands reached out.
But so like with proper training, anyone could become a Jedi?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm saying yeah.
Okay. All right. And that's fine. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just curious as to what you're...
I feel like it's, obviously...
Like does the Force choose certain people to...
Well, in a movie, people choose a direction. People choose certain directions to go in their life,
Okay.
And that could either bring you closer to the Force or push you away from it.
Okay. All right. I'll buy that. That part right there makes sense.
It's like it's not a human thing, but it's like a life force thing. People say the Force is love. I mean, I see it more as like a life force. Can be love, can be hate.
But then how come you can move rocks with the Force? Rocks have nothing to do with life.
I don't know.
No, I don't.
I'm not I'm not versed in the ways of the Force. I haven't completed my training.
Right.
I'm here doing podcasts.